Hola me bishes, tis I, Chlois, aka Manny Bish on Insta, and today we are using Hush and Sweater Better in a Sweater from Sparkle & Co. And we are going to be doing a beginner mani. So we are not doing anything fancy. We are keeping it very simple, and I'm even leaving in some filing for y'all. So here we go. For this, it is just you want good liquids, of course. You know, y'all, if you've been here for a while, I swear by my Manny Boss. If you are new here, I swear by my Manny Boss. So I am just applying a full coat over the entire nail and dipping in, and this doesn't have, it's like a medium dry time. It doesn't dry super fast, but it doesn't dry slow either by any means. And so you still have that perfect time to clean around your cuticles like I'm doing here. This is what's going to help give you that clean mani look around your cuticles. You can use this. This is from Triple D. It's a cuticle tool. And the other end is a silicone piece, and this is the needle piece for cleaning around your cuticles. Or you can use an orange wood stick or a toothpick even. All of those things, something just small enough to get around your cuticle. At the beginning of my mani journey, I actually used a small dotting tool to clean around my cuticles, and that worked great too. So now going in with our second dip, I'm doing the exact same thing, full layer over the entirety of the nail. My brush is not loaded with product. You'll see me kind of just wipe it off a little bit on the side of the bottle, go in and cover my nail. Now, I will say, if I do feel like I need more liquid on the brush after I've started painting it on the nail, I will go back and I will re-dip my brush into the bottle and do it again and get more product on my nail. So you just want to make sure that you get the whole thing covered. And when you dip, they say to dip at like a 45-degree angle, otherwise you'll mess everything up. I don't really know how true or not that is, because honestly, I go for more of a flattened angle. Even on my other fingers, like this one I actually turned upside down to make sure it would be flat, because we're working with a glitter, and it's not a chunky glitter though. It's a fine glitter. The chunky glitters are a little intimidating when you're first starting, so I can do a different video on that later on for the chunky glitters, but I figured for starting out, everybody is freaked out by the chunky glitters at first, so you want to start small. So fine glitters are always a good way to spice up a mani, but they don't come with the headache. So for my second layer, I felt like I was going to spill that everywhere, actually. So I was like, you know what, for my second layer, I'm going to pour it out, and I will be laying my finger into the glitter flat. So with this, see, I re-dipped because I knew after that first stroke that I wasn't going to have enough on my brush. So I re-dipped. I'm wiping my brush off to get any glitter off of it so it doesn't contaminate my liquids, and just cleaning around my cuticle. I will say, you know, even with the 2 years now, I think, that I've been doing dip nails, my cuticles do still get messy. I still get liquid on my skin. Not everybody is going to be perfect at that right away or off the bat. Some people are. I am not one of them. I am still a messy dipper sometimes. So, you know, just keep your little tool handy if you need it. If not, good, great. But if you do, you have it handy for you to grab. Pouring that back in there, you're going to dust off your nails in between each layer. So now I've already had my 2 layers done. For the dip, I'm going to clear cap. Now, when it comes to clear capping, I am clear capping my solid nails too, because I find that it adds an extra layer of strength. And also, when it comes to filing, you're not going to file off any of that color. Now, I shook my finger at y'all because I was showing you that it was still a little wet after the first dip, so I just re-dipped it. You want to make sure that your nail doesn't look wet. So that will ensure that all of the powder got absorbed into the liquid. So make sure your nail isn't wet. If it still looks wet when you pull it out, just re-dip it and then carry on like you would. So I am starting with my solid colors first. That way I don't dip my glitter into my clear and then get a random glitter in there and then dip my solid in there and then get a random glitter stuck to my solid plain nail. That's why I'm doing my solid nails first, glitters last. So like I was saying, the clear cap, I do my solid colors too, just so I don't file off any color or anything on them. When I'm filing my nails, I'll be filing the clear layer and not the colored layer, thinning anything out in terms of color. Now for glitter, you always want to clear cap. That way you don't dull your glitter. Because most glitter, if you cut it open or anything, it's just silver metallic looking on the inside. And while, if that's all it was, would be pretty, when you have like a green glitter and then all of a sudden it's like missing part of it and it's cut in half and you have this random silver shard in there, it doesn't flow that well. So when you have your clear cap over glitters, that will help to ensure safety over your glitters. So that way you are, again, only filing that clear layer and just being extra careful with those glitters and not changing the color or the impact of them when you're filing. So, and then this is something I do after I do clear. No matter what, I always redip all 5 fingers, and yes. So now I'm going to brush off. Now, after clear, do not just brush off your nails. Use a scrubby brush and scrub the crap out of them. You go in with the brush first to make sure that the clear is set and nothing is like wet still. Then you just go in and you scrub your little heart out with that brush, and to get all the clear particles out. If you don't do that, you'll have some cloudiness more than likely on your nails. But doing this just ensures that any loose, clear particles got swept away and you won't have any cloudiness going on in your nail. So now activating, I just do that real quick. All good, generous layer on all 5 fingers. I'm checking to make sure that they are hardened and they have the clicking noise. Now, this is a 180, 150 file. I'm using the coarser side to do this. Now, I have gotten back into hand filing. Usually I use a drill. I'm going into hand filing now to give the drill a break because your girl was getting a little too vicious with the drill and I created some ridges that didn't need to be there in my nail. So no more drilling for me at the moment. We are hand filing it up. So I figured this would be the perfect time. Also, as a beginner, hand filing is the safest and easiest bet to go because you have to, it's easier to get what you're looking for when you're beginning with a hand file because you're going to be learning about, the pressure you need to get a certain amount of bulkiness away, to get a certain look, and then you can go in with a drill later. If you start off with a drill, not everybody will do it, but more than likely you will have some spots that you've just over filed from using the drill. So starting off with a hand file, you'll be able to really figure out and get to know that pressure that you need and want. And you're actually hand filing. I still use a hand file even if I use a drill. I still use a hand file at the tip of my nail and for my free edge to get the shape that I like, of course. But I do still go over the surface of it because there are just some things that a hand file does that a nail drill cannot. So just keep that in mind. And so when it comes to filing, I do my tip. I go around the perimeter of my nail, just crisping up that edge and the free edge and going around my sidewall and cuticle to just get any product away from my skin. And I will be going in with a smaller file again to do that. So I'm not really touching my cuticle yet at the top of my nail, just the sides and the surface of my nail. And with that, see here, I am trying to round out the top of my nail so it's not so flat, because sometimes you can get like little ridges or like pile ups on the side of your nail. So I'm just trying to round off my nail at the top, smooth everything out, going over the surface, making sure everything is nice and smooth and even. And I am going at like a rounded angle where I'll start and then kind of round the file off, like move it downwards around my nail to get that more rounded look, so it's not just completely stick flat. A stick isn't flat. I mean, my words are not coming out correctly. I skipped my pinky, but here's my thumb. Again, just holding my file. I hold my file at a 90-degree angle when doing the free edge like this, going up and down. And then for the side walls, I do hold my file just inwards ever so slightly, because I like a tapered free edge, not just stick straight square. You know what I mean? So I do hold my file inwards when I am filing my free edge to get a more tapered look. Now I am going in with my thin file. A thin file is really going to help get around your cuticle. And just, that's what I'm doing. I'm getting the sidewall and cuticle area undone really good. And I'm trying to get the correct apex that I want. So I'm also going a little flatter over my apex and trying to flatten that out, because sometimes you can get a weird hump on the apex of your nail, which irritates me. And so I just try and flatten that out a little bit. So you'll see me hold the nail file just a little bit flatter right at the tip and the surface of my nail. So just doing that. And then you want, with a hand file, I will say, you can still cut yourself around your cuticle, so you want to be careful not to be too rough around your cuticle and your skin there. But also, if you cut yourself with a hand file, odds are it's not going to be as brutal as if you were to do it with a nail drill first starting out and not realizing the amount of pressure you're using. So, also keep that in mind. Just, hand file, I don't know, they just always have a nice place in my heart, hand files do. So I am just using that. I'll even use it, to kind of go over the rest of the surface of the nail one more time. This one is like it's more fine. I believe it's 180-200 grit. And so also with files, remember, the higher the number, the finer the grit, meaning it's more going to be turning into a buffer block. And then the lower the number, the more sharp and coarse and gritty the file is going to be. So 200 is pretty soft. 150, like I had on one side of the other file, is more coarse. And that's really going to be for the acrylic style nails and really get the job done. Whereas the 200, 180, that is something soft enough that you could use on your natural nail. You do not want to use super coarse files on your natural nail, because they can tear, rip, and damage your natural nail. Now, going over the surface of all of these babies with my buffer block. This one is from Kira Sky. I'm just using the fine grit side of this to smooth everything out and get rid of any lumps or anything that I might have missed or anything. And then I'm going to wipe all that dust away. Well, dust it away, scrub it away with my little scrubby brush guy. I am going to use some alcohol on this guy and just get it on there and then go around. This is going to help get any unwanted debris out. At this point, you could go wash your hands. I just say be careful with that in terms of what kind of soap or not you use, because oils and anything like that. So I use alcohol as to not get any oil or anything. I just stay right at my nail desk and everything, so I'm not touching my hair or anything when I'm washing my hands, like, or anything like that, touching anything else on accident that might add oil, because that will cause lifting. So I just stay at my nail desk. I use alcohol, keep my nails away from anything that could potentially ruin them. You're going to reactivate, wipe the extra activator off of your nails. That way you don't end up with an abundance and it's going to contaminate your top coat. Now I'm going in with my top coat. With your first layer, you want to do 1, 2, 3 quick swipes down the nail. It is okay if you need or you feel like you need to do 1 or 2 more. Just try not to focus too much on staying on the nail swiping on that first layer, because the activator is right there and it will contaminate your nail brushes. Wipe off your brush after each stroke, after each finger. That way to get any extra activator off. If you put your brush for your top coat back in there and it still has activator on, your liquid is going to be so contaminated you'll have to get a new one. It'll be a big pain in the butt and a headache. Don't do it. Just wipe your brush off. And you do need the activator when you're doing the dip before going in with the top coat, because the activator is what helps the top coat dry properly. If you do not use the activator, your top coat could potentially never dry, or just take extremely long time to dry. So this is where we are at. We've finished. I capped my free edge on my second layer. You'll see that I kind of have a little smudge mark I was showing y'all on my pinky. I'm going to fix that. I'm checking to see if they are dry, and they are. The Mani Boss liquids for me, the top coat dries really quick, really effectively, really this top coat is my favorite. I don't get any cracks, I don't get any chips, nothing. I am just reapplying an extra layer on my pinky and to clear out that smudge that I had, and it dried perfectly fine. It just took like an extra minute, I think, before I really felt comfortable touching it or anything. But it dried fine, even being a few minutes after the activator. So apply your cuticle oil. I like to apply my cuticle underneath the nail too, because the underneath of your nail does get dry too. So apply your cuticle oil where you see fit and where you think you need it. And so this is my video. This is my mani. I hope this helps some of you beginners out, even some of you not beginners out. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll catch y'all in the next one. Bye, bitches.